Hello and welcome to Copper Bulletins. My name's Mark and Mikey couldn't make it today, so Derek's kindly jumped in instead. Say hi, Derek.
Hi, Derek.
Well, we start off with some really sad news as we learnt that earlier this week a member of the Warning Army has passed away. Bobby Huggins, who was a long time fan of the band, far longer than I certainly, passed away due to COVID complications earlier this week. So condolences to the Huggins family, and rest in peace, one of the Warning Army. Well, we'll start off as always with the news, but yeah, welcome aboard, Derek. Thanks for stepping in at short notice with Mikey being.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.
I'm not sure what's going on. I think maybe he's just eaten too much turkey over Thanksgiving, and it's just taken.
Probably, yeah.
But news, not a lot of news in as far as the album goes. We're very much near the end, as far as we can tell. They're literally in the closing stages now, isn't it? It's just
yeah. I mean, they've got the drums, they've got the bass. I think Danny's just in the process of finishing off lead guitars, and we're working on backing vocals and
little guitar overdubs and
just the overdubs and embellishments and things.
Be interesting to see if they put any really weird noises on there, because
you never know.
I'm sure Mr. Bender's got a few tricks up his sleeve there.
I would imagine he would have a trick or two, yes.
Quite a few. But also this week, a very important anniversary. The second anniversary of the release of Queen of the Murder Scene. And with that, the YouTube release of the new edit of the Lunario show.
That's right, yeah. The full Lunario edit's now available to the masses on YouTube.
Yeah, we got a sneaky peek, didn't we? Some of us.
We did.
Through Patreon.
Through Patreon.
Was really interesting to see. It sort of kind of like seeing the concert in a whole new light, because we'd only ever seen it in bits through the original video releases.
Yeah, that's the thing. You only see the individual tracks, and of course it misses out a lot of the in between the songs bits. So when you see it all put together, it is like watching a new show.
Almost, and also the non-concerty bits as well, the sort of behind the
scenes.
It's really cinematic.
It is.
Yeah, I think as well, it seemed to be, it was like in 24 FPS as well. It wasn't in like high def, so it did feel that kind of movie quality, which was really made more dramatic. Really wish I'd been there.
I wish I could have been there as well.
Were you how much on the radar were the band for you at that point? Because if I remember rightly, I was still only just kind of getting into them at that point when that was all going on.
I think it was really not until summer 2019 before I discovered The Warning. The usual on YouTube, listening to various bits and pieces, heavy metal, all sorts of things. And of course, well,
Rod Stewart,
not quite, but
Bay City Rollers, that kind of stuff. Sorry.
Well, Bay City Rollers are from my hometown, right enough. But yes, I was listening. Of course, Enter Sandman pops up, so watched it, and very impressed considering how young they were at the time of recording that.
I think
Ali was only like 9.
He was tiny. I generally think most people, and I think a lot of people would necessarily admit it, but I reckon secretly most people, when they started watching that video, they were like, "Is this going to be good?" They look very young, and they don't look very scared. They don't look very scary. They don't look very rock. There's that initial. But
Yeah, it's a you do kind of think, is it kids that are just going to get through it because they're
yeah,
cute, or um
are they
oh
really good,
oh
or
oh
have their
they've actually
parents,
got talent.
just told them they're really good?
Yeah, aye. I mean, there's always that.
Clearly, obviously nothing to worry about in that respect because
Well,
they nailed that.
totally, yeah. You do have that sort of initial trepidation, when you see it pop up, and you're like, wow, they look like a bunch of kids. Oh wait, they are a bunch of
Yeah.
kids. And
Then after it's finished, you're crying because you realise a 14-year-old girl played the Enter Sandman solo far better than you'll ever be able to play it. So, but that's how it is.
exactly, yeah. It's just like, wait, hang on. That's a 9-year-old in the bass, and she's doing better than I could ever dream of doing.
Yeah,
Um,
and the bass is the same size as she is.
and then of course I actually started discovering that they were making their own music, and yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I can't really remember P.S.H.O.T.I.C ever listened, discovered songs in, but certainly um, when it started getting to the Queen of the Murder Scene songs, um, that's when I was like, yes, I'm addicted to these girls.
So with it, like I said, with it being the second anniversary of Queen of the Murder Scene, feels like it might be a nice opportunity to have a little retrospective of the album. Let's sort of like have a little chat. How we feel about the different tracks. Do we have a favourite? What do we like about them? Obviously, you've already gone into a bit of detail about Dust to Dust and the bass line.
Yes, aye.
I know, and I've said this before, and so personally, Dust to Dust isn't like necessarily a favourite track of mine. Like if I'm listening to like a random playlist and Dust comes on, especially if I'm in the car, I may potentially skip it. Please don't hate me. Also, Survive is very not a good one to listen to in the car. Just as a side, especially towards the end, you find yourself going very fast. It's not safe. So
From that respect, yeah, I think
yeah,
Survive is not a good. It's
no,
not a good driving tune.
it's not. But what I like about Dust to Dust, I think if I hear Dust to Dust, I feel like I need to listen to the whole album because it's that sort of ingrained in me that it's the start of the album, it's setting the scene, and also I associate it very, very strongly with with the beginning of a Warning live show. So
Yes, that is very true with Dust to Dust, because I mean it is their opening song,
yeah,
and I think it's difficult to listen to Dust to Dust and then jump to something else,
yeah, it's weird.
like non-warning, like if it's in a playlist or something.
Yeah,
It's like, no, you've got to listen to the
exactly.
rest.
I've got to go last. When I was a child, and you probably relate to this because we are of a similar vintage.
But yes, we are.
Yeah. I remember seeing Star Wars, and Star Wars has the 21st century Fox fanfare at the beginning,
Yeah.
and I was like, 5, 6-year-old me. That was the first time I'd ever heard that sound. So I always associated that sound with Star Wars. And as a child, I would often be really, really confused and quite often quite upset if the 21st century Fox fanfare would be on and then not followed by Star Wars. I'm like, what?
Star Wars.
Yeah. But Dust to Dust has that, but you'd hear it and you just get excited because Star Wars is going to.
Yes.
Same reaction with the Dust to Dust intro. It's like, warning's coming. It's like anticipation levels go up, and so yeah,
I can fully understand that. Yeah, I get that.
it's like a reflex.
It is like a reflex, yes. I set the scene, and again, it's got P.S.H.O.T.I.C vocals on it.
Yeah,
And again, I love the bass line throughout, especially when it moves to the preacher speech.
yeah.
When Rudy comes in.
The preacher speech, that always gives me a bit of that part having that in there always gave me kind of a Floyd kind of vibe. It always felt like the kind of thing they do.
Yes, totally.
Yeah,
I agree with that, definitely. Yeah,
like something off the wall, maybe.
Off the wall. Yes, aye,
In-
that Eva Floyd.
which is obviously another great concept album.
Indeed.
And that was something that really did surprise me when I learnt about Queen of the Murder Scene, the fact that it was a concept album, because if anything, the album itself is kind of a dying art nowadays, with the way people consume music through playlists and stuff like that, let alone a concept album, which is a whole other level. So yeah, and then chapter 1, of course, starts with Crimson Queen, which you've already mentioned.
Yes, I mean, I love that song, as I said, just for its complete different pace, and it is so stripped down and minimalist, and it's just a nice contrast. It's a really good contrast to...
It's very much the calm before the storm, isn't it?
Yes.
Both musically and also in the terms of the narrative as well.
Yeah, in the narrative terms as well, it is, yes. A very nice song.
So I guess that brings us to Ugh.
Ugh.
I never know if I'm meant to pronounce it Ugh or Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
But I always love the story behind that one, that they just they were getting so fed up with it.
The story that I heard about that was they'd written the start of the song, but they couldn't figure out how to finish it, and hence why it was called Ugh.
Similar problem that the writers of Lost had. But yeah, but I guess that they were probably very relieved when they finally sort of figured out how to close that song off.
To close it off, yeah, because I think it very nearly didn't make the album because they couldn't get it finished.
Right.
And I'm immensely glad they did get it finished, because, again, I think it's a fantastic song.
It was one that, again, that's one that was a bit of a slow burn for me.
Certainly, compared to some of the other songs, it takes a little bit more to grow, but it's got some cracking riffs in it. It's
a very sort of driving song. It really does sort of has a lot of motion to it.
Yes,
I do like that a lot. Very dynamic.
I mean, I think the more you listen to it, the more you start to actually hear the little bits and pieces in it, the drums, the bass, the fills, Danny's vocals, and it does, once you actually sort of start to hear it all, it does grow on you.
Yeah, I think it's one that the more times you listen to it, like you say, you pick up on more little details that you perhaps weren't aware of the first listen.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would lead us nicely to the one where the obsession is growing.
The obsession is growing, yes. Again, another great Danny vocals.
And a nice, really, really good Bucky banger of a chorus as well.
Yes, aye. It's got that slightly quieter, slower start, and then you've got that punchy chorus that just really grabs you and pulls you in. Great song to listen to.
Out of the whole album, that's one of the ones that where I first heard it is like, that sounds like something you'd hear on the radio. And so, like you say, they've all got great voices.
Yes.
I think any song where you hear all three of them together just goes up another level. That's when they're at their absolute best. When you've got all three sisters singing, harmonizing.
Yes, yeah. The harmonies they get are just, I mean, even just thinking about it and talking about it, I can feel me getting the shivers and the hair standing up in the back of my neck.
What's left of it? Sorry.
Yeah. There's not much left of it.
I can't talk. I don't know why I went there. I'm just as much in the fiery line as you are. So,
but yeah, I mean, it's just when you hear them hitting the notes and just getting that beautiful harmony together, it's something very special.
They really do. They do really do soar in those kind of moments
They
with that one. And I guess we're on to chapter 2. And again, it's starting to get a bit dark now, because up until this point, it could go either way. It could just be
Yeah,
a bit of an
it's
intense kind of love story, but things are getting a bit creepier. And again, I love the piano intro on Stalker, and again, another amazing chorus.
another amazing chorus, another emotional song that really pulls you in and gives you the feels. And yeah, again, it's just got these nice little bits and pieces that just pull you. It is like somebody just putting their claws into you,
Yeah,
and then pulling you. You just hear whether it's a bit of drums or bass line or just the vocals or the mood the song's creating, and you just get immersed in what's going on.
and I think as
And
well, just for the general sort of, like in terms of the lyrics and the theme of the song, and I think especially in and around the teenage years, I think everyone's felt like that at some point about someone. So
yeah,
there's that kind of connection with the song. It's like, I feel so attacked right now. Why are you singing about me?
yeah, that I think that's it as well. As I mean, there is always some sort of relatable
Yeah,
content.
maybe not the murdering part, but everything else before the murder. Yeah,
Yes. I mean, maybe not
yeah,
quite to the extent that it goes, but certainly a lot of the emotion and feeling that's
yeah,
getting portrayed, you can definitely relate to and
yeah.
think.
Everybody's got at least one story that goes along those lines.
Lines, yes, and you think, yeah, I can relate to that or this. So, yeah, definitely.
And then to Red Hands Never Fade. Red Hands is one of those ones that's gradually gone up my list of favorite songs. I think I like that one more and more each time I hear it. I like
I've
the pacing of it, and the speed.
It's always been one of my favourites, I have to say, Red Hands. It's just so much energy. Again, it's got terrific drums, guitar work, bass lines. I love the vocals. I love the way that they come together at certain parts of the verses and the chorus and stuff, and it is just amazing. And then, of course, when I heard young Alejandra attack it for the first time, it was like, damn, yes, this is good. Different to how Danny sings it, but I think that's something else that's really is to see just how much Ali has grown and progressed and developed. She was always very quiet. I mean, just compared to Danny and Pow, she is still very quiet and
I
far
think
more reserved.
I think most people are.
But I mean, she definitely has a darker, devilish side to her.
Yeah, she's as a presence on stage, that she's definitely grown the most over the last year. Because I guess the other two didn't really need to; they were kind of already there. But obviously,
there, yes,
she was younger, and you are. If you
yeah.
are the youngest sibling, you're probably generally just going to be a bit quieter anyway. But
then there's sometimes you see, like, again in vlogs, Danny's talking about the camera, and you just see Ali, and there's just a sort of little mischievous. She's quiet, but you just see the mischievous look in her face or glint in her eye, and then she says something to Pow and gets Pow starting to laugh, and then of course Danny's like trying to get him to shut up.
I'm just trying to do a vlog, and you two are just causing chaos behind me.
just destroying it
Yeah.
and causing mayhem. Um, I think 90% of the time it's Ali that kind of
Yeah, she's the instigator.
starts. She's the instigator of it. But I mean, she's always enjoyed a good groove on the stage.
Yeah,
And she has her own kind of style that she has on the stage. But I mean, it is like kitten to lion. It's like she's like the absolute kitten when she's off stage, and then she goes on the stage, and she puts her bass on, and she becomes this lioness that.
yeah,
And then when she starts singing things like Red Hands, you really hear a roar.
yeah.
I mean, not physically roar, but I mean, it's
the attitude's there in spades, isn't it?
yes, yeah. I mean, the attitude is just definitely it's there in bucket loads.
I always remember. I was most impressed with when they did the Striper gig, because Danny was really sick. Although you wouldn't have known it from the gig.
Yeah,
Ali just stepped into doing sort of the front woman part, introducing the band and all that, which I'd never seen her do before. And it's
exactly. Yeah. It's like she was a completely different person, and it's lovely to see her do that.
We must do the sacrifice as we close out chapter 2 of Queen of the Murder Scene.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't know if actually sort of low key, the sacrifice is maybe my favorite song on the album.
Now, the sacrifice for me is probably the song that I kind of skipped over at the beginning.
I will fight you in Lidl car park over this.
It was one of those. I was always going to other songs on the album, Dust to Dust.
I don't think the sacrifice gets a lot of love in terms of, if you look at what tracks have had the most exposure. If you look at things like the acoustic tracks they've done, or you look at Who Reactors cover, it doesn't get a lot of love in that. So I think that plays a part in it being a bit underappreciated.
But the more I've listened to it, it's been the slow burner for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly moved up the rankings of. I mean, it is a fantastic song.
It's definitely my favorite chorus on the album. There's some
chorus is fantastic.
There's some great choruses, but that's my favorite.
There's some fantastic guitar work, drums, Danny's vocals. It's a beautiful song, and it has really, really grown on me.
Yeah, I really like the in the second half where Danny's sort of doubling the lead line with the vocals, and also I love those little arpeggios that you've got going on in the chorus. I really like that.
Yeah,
I've only been doing this like 2 weeks. So yeah, we've closed out chapter 3, and at this point, the Queen is slowly descending into madness, as we're aware.
Yes, she is spiraling into
which could not be better sort of illustrated with the warring vocals of Sinister Smiles, which is just such a cool song.
Again, Sinister Smiles, from the first time I heard it, it's one of these songs that just, you've got P.S.Y.C.H.O.T.I starting off, you've got Danny, you've got the three of them together. The high line in the chorus that Ali sings.
Yeah, the falsetto line.
The falsetto line, I mean, that is just, it's like, you don't hear Ali going that high normally, and it is just lovely to hear that falsetto line from her in the chorus.
That was one that right from the start with Sinister Smiles. Yes, I like this one straight away. It was an instant.
It was an instant for me as well. Again, Um, again, because of the vocals, because of the range of vocals, uh, the harmonies, and again, just the guitars, drums, bass, and it's quite catchy, especially when they start going into that the break
Yeah,
part. It's really it just
I love the fact that they've got that sort of ready-made sort of audience participation break
it's
there.
patient.
You just know
Yes,
everything. You're always imagining that at like a massive stadium or something, and how awesome that would be to have 30,000-40,000 people doing the break apart bit.
but yeah,
I Yeah, I loved that song when I first heard it, but looking, after learning more about like the album, the narrative is like, okay, that's really clever with Pow doing like the good side and
I
Danny being the evil side, and that
the
sort of
evil side,
backwards and
yes,
forwards
and
between
it's
the two.
too.
So it's so well done, and then
And that's
also,
it. It's incredibly well done,
yeah,
beautifully written.
that pay the price and grab the dagger, cut through skin and stain the water.
It's in
That's one
water.
of my favorite lines, sort of lyrics for
That
the warning. I love that when I heard it.
that's a favorite line of mine as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I
And
think
the drum fill. That drum
and the
fill.
drum fill.
I always, it's like get ready for that. If someone listens to like drum fill's coming up. It's so good that.
Yeah, it's because lines like that are coming up in the drum fills and stuff, and that's what makes the song. Um,
Uh, and when they did the acoustic version and Pow nailed that fill on the drum pads, I was like, how?
how yeah,
Because it's like,
how
obviously
did you
they're not going to
do
have
that?
the same. They don't respond the same way. They're not going to get the same bounce back, and to still be able
Yeah,
to play it on that was incredible. Okay, where are we up to? Where are we up to? Oh, we're up to Dull Knives. 3 minutes of
all
perfection.
knives. Yes, again, instant. Listen to it. I love this. It's again the whole tempo of the song, drums, guitars, vocals. Again, get the hooks in the chorus. That's something that they're very,
Fair-
very
That's-
adept at
yeah,
doing.
I've always said that. Anyone can play. There's tons of people on YouTube who can play, but writing catchy songs is a real skill and a real gift.
It is.
I mean, a lot of their songs, you would say, actually, in terms of how catchy they are and how sort of memorable are, there's like poppy sensibilities in there, which is not a bad thing, but it never sounds forced. It never sounds like it's like crowbarred in. Like it's all right for the song.
Exactly, yeah, and it doesn't feel formulaic or, um, like you say, it doesn't feel like it's just been shoehorned in there. It's
Pop
it
gets seen
all
as a
natural and fits.
pop gets seen as a bit of a dirty word at times, but I mean, I always considered Nirvana to have a lot of kind of pop music sensibilities around some of their stuff. Again, there was some really at the heart of it, some very catchy, basic stuff, but done well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it was any coincidence that they chose to do Dull Knives at the Detour stream, when Lava was sort of introducing them to the world.
Yes, that was
It's like, okay,
no
right,
no surprise there at all.
you've got one song. What do you go out there with? Dull Knives, 3 minutes,
Dull knives.
smack them in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave them in the dust. And Queen of the Murder Scene, where the Queen is fully embracing her chaotic nature and just generally causing chaos everywhere.
Chaos, yeah. I mean
That's
beautifully.
yeah. It's again not my favourite song, but I think it's probably my favourite, certainly from Lunario. think it's my favorite performance from Danny because that's where she's evoking that character so well with the crazy eyes.
Definitely, yes, yes. I mean, you just get that sense of her being the broken, crazy,
Yes.
obsessed, murderous queen.
And
um,
getting into that delusional state of being untouchable, of being something completely, above the law, above reproach. It's
yes,
magnificent.
yes, yes. Um, I think again, it's maybe not the catchiest of songs to get into,
No,
but I do love the way it's written. You know, the whole pow with
the chorus.
the the
Yeah,
chorusu, and then you've got. I'll I love the way as well that it starts off it's pow for the first half, and then the second half Ali joins in as well, and you've got that harmony between them,
and again, it
and
also makes you feel of that thing
it
of
just kind of
multiple personalities,
what
warring
is and
factions inside the brain.
it's just like adding the layers, um, and it really works well, and it really gives that feeling of yeah
Well,
the
again,
multiple.
I don't know if it was necessarily deliberate. It wouldn't surprise me if it was just knowing how the girls work. But Queen of the Murder Scene, out of everything, like you say, it's not the catchiest. It feels like a bit awkward and angular almost. It feels jarring, but in the terms of where it sits in the narrative, it feels like the right
Exactly.
time to do that to you.
Yes, totally.
You should be
It
feeling
just
uncomfortable.
yeah. You shouldn't be bopping along
No,
all. Like oh
this
yeah
is where you should
something's
be starting to think. Hang on,
hang on
this is a bit messed up.
something's not quite right here. And of course yes, totally. It's not.
So again,
Um,
I like it more in the context of the album
yes.
because it feels like it does a certain job of in terms of jolting you in the narrative, and it does that really well.
I have to say, actually, if I'm listening to the album, then I tend to listen to the whole album from start to finish.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
I
Don't you?
don't, I don't just listen to the odd songs out of it. I mean, I can listen to odd songs from 21st Century
Yeah,
Blood and jump to something else. But yes, I feel with Queen of the Murder Scene. I mean, I have done it. Don't get me wrong, but I much prefer to listen to the whole album and go on the whole journey
yeah,
rather than just
and
listening to
definitely,
odd songs from it.
and it is definitely a journey as well. That's the beauty of it. You
Yes.
find yourself, and yeah, if you either come in at the wrong time or come out at the wrong time, you kind of feel
Time.
like you're hanging.
Yeah,
You
you
don't have
do.
that sense of resolution. Okay, let's move into chapter 4 then, into Hunter, which I really want to become Ale's song. I know she thinks this is a bit too low at the beginning, but I actually think Ale singing Hunter makes more sense because it's the Grim Reaper personality is like whether it's a separate character or a third personality, but it makes sense if
Yeah.
it's someone else coming in to sort of challenge the queen. So I like it. It makes sense for Ali to sing it.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, when she sung it at Black Box,
Yeah,
it's one of my favourite performances of Hunter. Um Definitely. Again, it's got nice fills in it, it's got great bass lines.
really, the baseline
A
really bounces along for Hunter.
long, yeah. It is. And I mean it's something that throughout all the songs, there's just I mean there's beautiful bits of guitar work that really captivate me and drum work, but Ali's basses are always so solid
Yeah,
and really help underpin and in some points drive the songs. But
Yes,
you know,
definitely. And you need that when you've only got in a three. You need that in a three-piece.
yes,
The bass does need to do a little bit more work. You can't
and
go
I
away with
feel
tumbling root notes.
and I feel she always does it so well. You know, she always just seems to get a beautiful sound out her basses. You know, whether it's the higher notes or you know, she's right down at the neck,
Yeah,
at the head, and it's you know, it's just beautiful, and she can just seem to get the nice balance between driving where she needs to, underpinning songs where she needs to, and yeah, it's. I mean, Hunter's a great song. Um, throughout the bass line throughout is just it really does help
yeah.
bounce it along and
It really propels that one along.
on,
And
and yeah, she has got the right voice for Hunter as well.
okay, so we're near the end of the journey. The Queen has been stalked herself now by the Grim Reaper or Death or
Yeah.
whichever, and results in the challenge. I've got, you know what? I know I've done. I've gotten the wrong way around, haven't I? Because Psychotic should have come before Hunter. I've gone off the misprinted albums.
Have you? Aye.
Yeah, I've gone wrong.
I was just thinking. I was
Yeah,
thinking. Surely we should be doing Psychotic at
yeah, we
some
should have
point.
done Psychotic first. Oh well, it's too late
Oh
now.
well.
But yes, so yeah, because yeah, the most annoying song on the album to type in a text message to do it correctly, or on Discord on mobile, P.S.Y.C.H.O.T.I.C.
I see.
Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, we've gone out of sync. But yeah, because that is where the Queen has probably got a bit too big for her boots at this stage and starts to brag,
Starts
which,
bragging
which
about,
results
yes.
in the Grim Reaper, whoever, coming to take her down a peg in Hunter.
Yes.
Psychotic was probably the song. I'm calling it Psychotic. I'm not spelling it every time.
No, I just Psychotic, yeah.
But that's probably the one that surprised me the most because I was not expecting cheerleader punk. But it's an amazing song. I love it.
Yeah, that's it, again. It was a song that I instantly fell in love with, um, because of that right punky
Yeah.
feel it had. I mean,
Well, you
I
like
was
Die Cheerleader, don't you? So
yes,
you know,
um,
I get the impression you're a bit of a fan of the old Riot Girl movement. So it'd be right up your alley.
indeed, yes, fan of the old Riot Girl
Girl. Right?
band girl. I and you know, I'm off that age, and
Yeah.
as you know, being British as well, there was a lot of punk bands around in the 70s, you
Oh,
know.
P.S.Y.C.H.O.T.I.C. Psychotic. If you made that, with a few tweaks and a bit more ragged around the edges and worse vocals, that could probably have been a Kitty song. So
Yeah, easily, yeah. You know, so funnily enough, I was a big fan of Kitty as
I knew.
well.
You see, I didn't know that. I just guessed. I worked that one. I
Um,
figured you would have been.
I mean, I basically, right from an early age, I mean, I was born 73, so I mean, I was raised on a diet of
I am
Boston
really
wine tea,
haggis,
um,
foam, shortbread.
Judas Priest, haggis, yeah, haggis, smoked salmon, and whiskey. Um, you know, Judas Priest, Led Zeppelin, all that sort of stuff. Um, you know, and as I grew older, it was like Susie Quattro, Girls' School, all that sort of stuff. Um, and then I started getting into the heavier stuff in the 80s. But
The heavier, sort of murkier, dirtier stuff.
yes, yes. But
I went
I've
the other way.
always
I got more into sort of the like the hair metal stuff and the glam stuff. I didn't want to go
um,
around smelling of patchouli oil. Wasn't my
but
thing.
then I've always kind of had two, because I've always kind of really liked the sort of Sisters of Mercy, Cure, 80s goth, Gary Newman, as well as rock music. So yeah, it's always been something that I've loved and grown up with. So coming across the girls and what they're doing, it's just been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I was
And
saying this to Isaiah and I said to Mikey as well. You don't realize when you're younger. You think I'm always going to say. You think you'll always be on the cutting edge. I'll always listen to new music. At some point, you just kind of stop. And I don't know whether it's because you don't have enough time or just you just get too much other stuff to do. But you're not very. As you get older, it gets a lot harder.
I've
And
always kind of found as well, I've probably been about, I don't know, 10, 20 years behind.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
My music sort of discovering of new music kind of stalled in 1997.
but like, so when Nirvana came out, um, hated them. Just, I never liked Nirvana.
You see, I like Nirvana. I didn't like Pearl Jam very much. I've got to admit. I like Nirvana.
I wasn't a great fan of Pearl Jam either, but now I really like Nirvana, and I like a lot of not all of Pearl Jam stuff, but I like some of Pearl Jam stuff. I like pretty much all of Nirvana stuff, but it seems I need to let some time pass, and then it grows on me.
This is something that occurred to me about the warning. Actually, this is an interesting tangent, or not, as the case may be.
Maybe.
Again, especially when you're younger, in terms of music, it's not just about the music, is it? Because when you're younger, image and like being part of the right social group, it all matters.
It's a
And
scene.
yeah, you've got to be in
Yeah,
the scene, and the bands that you listen to have to fit in the scene.
scene. Yeah.
And there'd be certain bands you say, "Well, I can't listen to them because they don't fit with my group." But then I look at the warning, I think, well, they're kind of in the middle of the Venn diagram, as it were. It's like if you're a rocker or a metalhead, obviously there's plenty to enjoy there.
Yeah.
But if you're coming at it from the more sort of pop side, but you were looking, but like a bit of guitar and stuff like that, well, then they're not too off your radar to be.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You could. No one's going to go, "Oh, why are you listening to them?" You know. The emo kids will lap it up. I think they're in a good position spot in that way. There's where their image and their sound isn't going to exclude them from many people's sort of listening sort of sphere
Yes.
of influence. But yeah, Cheerleader Punk. Didn't expect it, but really, I'm absolutely here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting there to be a kind of punky song on the album, and when I did hear it, I was like,
And it very much is, isn't it? It's a straight up punk song.
yeah, it is. It is. It's very much that whole punk kind of beat vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and the whole chorus is kind of like you say, it's kind of like that cheerleader type.
Yeah. Or if your 90s kids will remember, Lauren Laverne's band Kaniki, who I have a very great soft spot for. But the couple, it's very reminiscent of a couple of their songs as well.
Yeah.
And Pow always seems to be having the most fun in that one as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She's probably. I think the sort of because I guess it's a pretty straight up beat. There's nothing too complicated going on there.
Yeah.
But interestingly, I think the bass line's deceptively complicated. There's a lot more going on than you realise for like a punky song.
But yes, yeah, it's not your typical punky. plunk plunk
No,
plunk bass. It's far more sophisticated and
bit of a John Entwistle thing going on in terms of like bit of walking up and down. It's a good bass line. I think that's again
yeah,
maybe my favorite bass line on the album.
yeah. I mean, it's one of my favorite bass lines. It's certainly, and again, it just kind of helps keep the song going along and
Yeah, again, it's another of those very kinetic songs with a lot of motion.
songs. Yeah, and it just does help just keep it um, going along. And I love the whole sort of shouty bits in it as well. The hey heys
Yes,
and again, very very catchy, very just pulls you right in.
another
Great
one
song.
that's good for a bit of audience participation as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And then obviously after that, straight back down to the end. As
Yes.
the Grim Reaper has caught up with the.
Has caught up and yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's lots of different interpretations, and again, part of the beauty of the album is that there are certain things that are kind of open to interpretation. But yeah,
That's it. Not everything was spelt out in
no,
black and white. There is a lot of room for user interpretation.
but I always, especially with Pow singing the end, I always saw that as after the battle of Sinister Smiles, as it were, and then going through Psychotic and Hunter with the Grim Reaper coming into the picture. Almost that the Grim Reaper was kind of like a third personality conjured up by the good side,
Right.
and which was basically what appears to be committing suicide, which is a very dark subject. But it felt like it was like the only way to stop this is to take a very drastic measure.
Yeah.
But it's interesting
Um,
with Pow being the good side in Sinister Smiles, that ultimately, the good side has won,
one.
but at a very great cost. But that is
Yes.
a beautiful song.
It is a beautiful song. It's one I really like. Maybe not an instant, oh my god, I love this, but it was definitely one that was on my radar. Again, Pow singing.
Yeah.
I like the whole, like it's the sort of full circle thing because
Yes.
Pow opens with Dust to Dust and closes with the end.
Yeah. It's all very, very sort of
Um,
very well constructed in that respect.
yes. And actually, what I really like about that is the fact that it's all Pow and there's only two lines where Ali does a backing.
Yes.
And I really like that. It's just, I just think that bit's really beautifully done. It's just enough for the song.
Out, out
Um,
out of everything on the album, that's the one that to me it feels very much like a straight up sort of like 80s rock power ballad
yes, definitely,
in the
definitely.
best way possible.
Yes, yes, it is. And yeah, I guess it gives me a bit of feels for that reason as well. It's something that's very familiar sounding,
Yes, but also
and
very epic
from
sounding
that
as
sort
well.
of yes, that familiar sounding in that kind of 80s rock ballad
Yeah,
feel.
great. I think that amazing solo as well probably helps contribute to that because it's where you'd expect one in an old power ballad.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's just like it just comes in at the right time, and it is very much like a an 80s power ballad solo.
It's quite in to my ears quite a slashy solo. It almost feels
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it almost feels like it could have been an outtake solo from November
From
Rain, because it's got
yeah,
little solos. Like this is one of the ones they just didn't use for whatever reason. It's that kind of vibe, that kind of melody, really
yeah,
lyrical.
definitely, yeah. Now that you say that,
You can't unhear that now, can you? I'm
no,
primitive.
no, I can't.
I also love, again, the harmonies in there. The
Yeah,
the the last harmony just before the solo always reminds me of "Dream On" by Aerosmith. It's a similar
yes.
kind of line,
Same
and
with yeah, yeah.
you've got the close harmony and the oscillation. So yeah,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
maybe that's why gentlemen of our age like them so much. I don't know
well,
because
so,
it has got a lot of
yeah,
these sort of reminiscences to influences from 80s rock bands. The sort of
well, I suppose yeah. I mean, if we go scooch back to the beginning of the album, Crimson Queen always gave me. Okay, it doesn't really sound like it, but it's kind of always kind of reminds me of Battle of Evermore off Led Zeppelin 4.
yeah,
I think it's probably the guitar tone more than anything else, but yeah, the
aye.
kind of echoes
Yeah,
of
and I know what you mean. It's like the songs are all very unique and they don't sound like they're ripping anybody off. It's
no,
all very
absolutely not.
original, but you do get feelings or it reminds you of certain things
Yeah,
going back to that you have heard before.
yeah, you get like
Um,
echoes of something else coming
Something
through.
else,
Yeah,
yes,
similar vibe.
similar vibe. Yeah, definitely. I think that is definitely part of the appeal. But it's the fact that when you look at everything as a whole, the the effort, the talent, and the results are just astounding.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we just look at say Queen of the Murder Scene as a whole, and as an album, like not the thought that just went in, not just to the music, but to the whole sort of presentation and packaging of that album.
Packaging, yeah.
So, again, which is it's kind of a dying art nowadays.
Again, yeah, yeah, that's it. Because I mean, you don't get album art these days
No,
because it's all you get a picture of the band and you
it's all on
download
the
it.
internet. It's all
Yeah,
on
it's
the
all
internet. But yeah, the artwork obviously by Gretel Joffrey is
yes.
incredible,
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic artwork.
and
And
just
it fits really well with the whole theme and mood of the album.
and you do miss that a little bit nowadays. Same with computer games and albums just aren't the same. Like you buy a computer
No.
game and you get it home, and the first thing you do is start looking through the manual, or you buy a CD and you go look through the lyrics and the artwork, and yeah,
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
think the sort of the resurgence in vinyl is probably because you've now got a whole generation of people who've just become adults who've suddenly realised they've grown up and they're now adults. And in terms of things like music and stuff like that, they've never owned anything. They've never had like that. They've never owned a piece of music the way you and I did when we were younger.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and they probably are now conscious of, hang on, I feel like I'm kind of missing out on something here.
I
And
mean that's the thing. Having a hard drive with 6 gigs of music on it is not the same as
it's
having those record cases
no,
with all these vinyls in them, and you had 3, 4, 5,
yeah. I mean,
cases with it.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying the old days were better or anything like that. But there was something that felt kind of special about when you had to earn music. Like if there was a song you wanted to hear, then you either had to wait for it to come on the radio, or you had to go out and buy it in a
Yes.
physical format.
Or I mean that's the thing as well. It's like, you know, going away back, how did you discover music? You went and saw bands live.
Yeah, I used to go to a rock night in my town, and I remember one night we were all there, and we said, right, you need to come here next week because next week we're going to have we're gonna have the new Metallica single. So of course, next week place is packed, and there's like what 700 or 800 people there, and that was the first time those 700 or 800 people heard Enter Sandman. That wasn't. It was like a proper event.
And that's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how you went and discovered.
Yeah, and
because you went to a rock club, or and DJs would play stuff. You think, oh, I've not heard that. Oh, what's that? And then you'd ask somebody, do you know what that song was he just played? Or you'd have to go up and ask the DJ, and
he'd wave you away because he's busy DJing.
Yeah, or you would get the answer, then go out and buy the album. That's
you only wanted one song, but you had to shell out 12 quid for an entire album because I've got a flipping.
That's how you did it.
I've got a flipping Styx album that I didn't want because I only wanted one song on it.
Yeah. But now it's not a case of going out and discovering new music. It's whatever the music moguls want you to invest in, and what product they want to push on you.
I think part of that is why the fact that Queen of the Murder Scene exists at all is so amazing, because we're not really in there. Like you say, the music industry is not in, the climate's not there. People don't really make albums anymore.
No,
and you don't get album artwork. So the fact that they went to the trouble of really crafting a proper, I guess, an old school album experience, not just from the music point of view, but from the packaging, from the way it was presented, is something.
I suppose that's the whole thing as well. It's doing the music they want to do, not music that a record company wants to put out.
True. Yeah, it was very much a creation.
And that's, I think that as well is very commendable, and what makes it so much more special.
Yeah,
and so enjoyable. It's because you can see the love and passion that's gone into what they've done. They've done it out of love, not out of, we're going to push this out because it's going to make us money.
Yeah, it's a case of we're just going to go out there and we're going to make the best record we can possibly make, write the best songs we can write. Derek, thanks for the chat. That was a good talk, actually. I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that as well. That was really interesting.
Yeah,
thank you very much, Mark.
I like talking. It's like it makes a change from just like talking to the cats about the warning.
Well, yes,
they're not always that receptive, and they don't tend to have quite as much input.
No, they don't generally have as much input. I find the same.
I know. I can see your cat.
Oh, there's a boot.
Yeah. Cat. I see cat. Just right on cue.
Right on cue. Yeah. She makes her appearance. Photobombs the back of the.
But yeah, I and also thanks for jumping in and sort of probably talking more than you were expecting to, as Mikey was supposed to be here but isn't. Bless him.
Actually, yeah, it was more. I was kind of a bit worried. I was lacking of things to think about, but no.
It's I think it's honestly pretty on brand for the way this podcast has gone so far. So don't worry about it. And we've come to it about it. But yeah, no, I generally really enjoyed that, a little retrospective on the album, despite getting two of the songs in the wrong order. But they did that on some.
These things happen.
They did that on some of the CDs as well, so we're in good company, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you very much for having me.
And again, I do know some people are watching these. I'll be honest, I think I kind of know most of them through like Patreon or through like warning fan groups, but nevertheless, that's still very appreciated. I'm glad they're. I'm glad people are getting something out of this. And yeah, fire us a comment because I do read them. And I'm trying to reply to them all. Mikey has got the login and is supposed to be replying to them, but he doesn't bother.
That sounds like Mikey.
It really does, yes. But yeah, fire us a comment and anything. Maybe if you've got any ideas for us to stuff for us to talk about in future podcasts, because I'd be lying if I said I wasn't running short of ideas. I've not run out yet, but you know, thin on the ground. So anything you want me and Mikey to have a
Like
chat
your
about
hair.
or to cover, let us know. If you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. And as always, as I've said on the last few, yeah, subscribe to the warning because that's where the good stuff is. They're putting out music. You know, I'll put their latest video. In fact, you know what? I'll link the re-uploaded Lunario video at the end because if you've not watched that, you should definitely watch it because it's really good.
Definitely watch it.
So yeah, and well, yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Say bye, Derek.
Bye, Derek.